What's up, everybody? It's your man's KJ the Great, dropping another edition of All Sports Media TV. But first, I want to say, I hope and pray everything is great your way. Now, we about to get into it because we got some exciting news and potential fight news that could be going down early this spring or possibly this summer. So, as you guys know, last summer, July 29th, Las Vegas, we had the first undisputed champion in the welterweight division crowned, that being Terence Bud Crawford. He stopped Errol Spence in 9 rounds, dropped him in the second, dropped him twice in the seventh, and just stopped him. It was all one-sided ass whooping, as Errol Spence called it, but it wasn't the way he thought it was going to go. I'm still rocking with you, Big Fist. But, hey, as you guys know, the International Boxing Federation President Daryl Peoples stripped Terence Crawford of his IBF title less than 2 months after winning that fight. A little bit, or close, yeah, about 2 months after winning that fight. And the number one challenger, the mandatory, who was supposed to step in and fight the winner of that fight, Jaron Boots Ennis, has been crowned the IBF champion. Jaron Boots Ennis is 31 wins, no losses, no draws, with 28 wins by way of knockout. He was last in the ring. He got a 10th round KO over Roymond Villa, and that was back in July 8th. So he put on a great display of hand speed, defense, footwork. Roymond Villa, he's not a slouch. He's not a slouch as a fighter, man. He fought as best he could, but the better fighter won. The more athletic fighter, the more agile fighter, the quicker fighter. Jaron Boots Ennis got power in both hands. Hand speed is out this world, and it was on display. Now, his father, BOZY Ennis, has recently stated to Boxing News 24/7 and RingTV.com that they are campaigning to, or have been campaigning to, get a fight with none other than MARRIO Barrios. MARRIO Barrios is 28 wins, 2 losses, no draws, with 18 wins by way of knockout. He is your current WBC interim welterweight champion. Now, he had a unanimous decision over Eudenis Ugas back in September. He dropped Eudenis Ugas in that fight, and I think that was one of his best showings. He's had some good fights recently. I think that was one of his best showings. A lot of people point back at when he got stopped by Gervonta Tank Davis. After that fight, he won a couple. No. After that fight, he fought Keith Thurman. He was hurting Keith Thurman in that fight. Even though he lost, he was hurting Keith Thurman when he was banging him to the body. But ultimately, he lost, and then he bounced back with a couple wins. And this is the biggest win of his career to date. So I believe that this fight can be made and will be made. And I'm going to tell you why. So the rematch between Terence Crawford and Errol Spence is contractually obligated. And what they had in that contract was that the winner gets to choose the weight, and the winner gets the lion's share of the pie. As you know, going into the fight, the negotiations were all over the table. That's why it took so long. A lot of people were questioning, will the fight ever happen? I knew the fight was going to happen, and they knew the fight was going to happen. They just had to work around certain things and get certain details ironed out. And they did, and they gave us the fight. Wasn't the fight we were expecting, but we still got the fight. Now, after the fight, Errol Spence started immediately campaigning for the rematch to possibly be at 154, which is junior middleweight. He stated several times over the past few years that making 147 is becoming one of the hardest things to do. Same thing with Terence Crawford. Same thing with Terence Crawford. He has stated as well it's hard for him to make 147. So the winner gets to choose. Terence Crawford, go ahead and make that rematch happen at 154, which is possible. Now, if that happens, MARRIO Barrios will be elevated to the current WBC welterweight champion, full champion, super champion status, as well as Eimantas Stanionis, who is the WBA welterweight, regular welterweight champion. he will as well, I believe, be elevated to the WBA full champion status as well, super champion as they call it. That means Jaron Boots Ennis, Mario Barrios, and Stanionis will all be welterweight title holders. And I believe the WBO will possibly be vacant at that point, as well as the ring. So with that being said, let's talk a little bit about this. Like I said, BOZY Ennis, he told RingTV.com that he was campaigning for the fight himself. They believe that's going to be a good fight. Like I said before, Jaron Boots Ennis, he can switch from left to right, fast hands, fast feet, good ring IQ. Mario Barrios, he's a good fighter, no slouch. Like I said before, um, he throws good punches. He can punch hard. As you could see when he fought Keith Thurman, he could punch hard. Definitely a learning fighter. I'll say that he's learning um, and growing as a fighter. I believe that ultimately where Jaron Boots Ennis is, he can win the fight because he's just that much more of an athletic fighter, a bigger puncher as well. But say this happens, say this all plays out the way I'm talking about it right now. That would put Jaron Boots Ennis immediately on a path to become undisputed within the next possible 2 years or 3 fights. Think of it like this. He fights and beats Mario Barrios. Okay, cool. He'll be unified. Evander Stanionis is right there. They can petition to fight for that vacant WBO title. And that will put the winner at undisputed. Now, a lot of people still mention Keith Thurman's name, even though he hasn't fought but one time in like the past, 4 years, and that was his last fight with Mario Barrios. Come on now. I'm not even thinking about him. If he throws his name in the ring, he needs to get in the ring with Jaron Boots Ennis. I believe that's one thing that Jaron Ennis is lacking at this point in his career is the big marquee name, the marquee fight. But if all of this takes place, he becomes undisputed. He did say, as before, he's still going to try his best to campaign for a fight with Terence Crawford or Errol Spence, either one, and that'll be at 154 for sure. Definitely, if he is undisputed, the WBO, they have that ruling that if you decide to move up and weight, you can pretty much skip the line and jump right into a title fight with whoever the champion is. Now, the champion right now is Jermell Charlo. No, excuse me. The champion right now is Tim Tszyu as of right now. So we already know that pool at 154 is deep. You know, you got Jermell Charlo, as I said. Now you possibly have Errol Spence, Terence Crawford. You got Carlos Ocampo, Sebastian Fundora, Tim Tszyu. I mean, you got a lot. You got Brian Castano. If he hasn't retired, you still have Tony Harrison, and those are all decent fighters. I ain't gonna just say decent fighters. They're great fighters. They're really good fighters. So Jaron Boots Ennis' future looks up and looks bright. I believe if they get this fight made, this fight should probably take place late spring or in the middle of the summer. Who do you guys think will win this fight? Thank you guys for tuning in. I appreciate every like, share, and subscriber. Thank you guys again. Make sure you hit that like button. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. Follow me on Instagram at All Sports Media TV. Follow me on my other Instagram at KJ the Great 09. Thank you guys for tuning in. I appreciate it. Peace.